and then we will see what happens. Because last week we had a nice conversation about education.
Yes.
And you asked me to write things down, and I have not.
I haven't got around to it. I know the feeling.
Well, it is not only that, it is also because I have the feeling that I have written enough.
Yeah, yes.
And then, yeah, well, the amount of interaction given to either publications or website or is so, I don't want to say frustrating low, but it is frustrating low. So then you come to a moment that you say, okay, fair enough. We can create a group on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on anywhere, but the internet as such is more a collision course of opinions than of
Yes.
settling in some sort of an agreement on let's go out and create some social event or a demonstration or, you know, but I'm still happy with all the experiences that I made in my environment, and there's a lot to. I just mentioned that on WhatsApp that I traveled the internet with you and with Frankie, and I had very, very nice moments. So
Yeah, same here, yes.
yeah, so we met a lot of very interesting people, and I can't really understand why that should end. I don't see a need to stop participating.
Of course, it's not a substitute for online in meeting in real life, but that is not easy. No.
No.
Even when the travel is not a problem, getting the right mix of interests in sufficient numbers is not easy. We as I mentioned, we have this group now functioning on Wednesdays, once every week. But it's a small group, and part of the problem is that there's not enough variety of people with interest to pair up or join up. So if you have three people, you are trying to jostle the other two to get interested in what you want to say. If you had let's say 30 people, naturally they would find enough few among the 30 which already is traveling on the same road. So that is missing from a small group, and I think in order to achieve a larger group like 20 or 30, just in order to get this variety emergence, you need what I feel called an organizer, a kind of natural networker, who can kind of advocate the importance of this growing group. And then once you have this larger unit of clumping into smaller units, you would have three people interested in one thing and other three people interested in something else, doing their own thing. But overall, the whole group would be benefiting from each of these subgroups
Yes. Yeah.
particular interest. So that is behind this idea of theoretically 133, 144 groups breaking into 12 specialist smaller groups.
Mm-hmm.
And well, that is a vision. That is a vision I have been trying to hone and write about a bit. But anyway, going back to you said I asked you to write something. If you remember, it was something when you said that you were thinking about the importance of constitution. After we mentioned the change that happened in Britain with the demise, well, with the departure of Queen Elizabeth, we have a new king, etc., etc. Well, what about a constitution? Well, in Britain, the argument is for maintaining the unwritten constitution that it is much more flexible than if you put things down in words.
I understand. Yeah. Yes.
Like in America, it is you can only change the constitution or update it by making amendments. But in order to get an amendment accepted by the, I don't know, 50 states, it's very difficult to achieve a constitutional amendment. So that is interesting because our other friends in France, if you remember, Michael
Murphy.
You see, they are working on the idea of a written constitution, but under the premise that it will be rewritten as many times as necessary, even several times in a few years. As I gathered, it was envisaged that it will be kind of public domain area where people would naturally be arguing and discussing, and some new consensus would emerge. Well, this is a vague possibility of this kind of living written constitution. That's what they called it. I call the group they because now I am not part of it at all. I think the last email I sent to Michael Mulvey didn't get a reply. Maybe it went astray or something. So I consider it the ball is in his court.
Yeah, I understand. It's a struggle about leadership and say I pretend to have an open mind, but I have my own view, my vision.
Well,
and that is a question of choice. I mean, if we say you're the one, then you are the one, and we should submit to the one. But if we want to say, no, I'm not the one, and you are not the one, then who the hell is the one?
Well, there's that, but you see, there are many methodologies to help groups to creatively explore disagreements, differences, and eventually end up with some previously unrealized truths.
Well, yeah, well, I think still that Constitution, as the United States provides, does give a platform for a lot of ethical norms, like I promised the Constitution that I will uphold the Constitution and stuff like that, is very essential for a society to flourish and to function, because
yes,
you need that kind of overlapping. And it is important to say, no, it is not me, there is a greater good, and it is verbalized. And I will submit to the greater good, and therefore I take an oath. And you take an oath. And taking an oath means that you commit yourself to a promise. Maybe it is an ancient promise of 1767 or 1770s, when was it? 1776.
1776. Oh,
yeah. Well, that's good. But the view on expiring, I mean, the Second Amendment in the US should have expired a long time ago. A long time ago. And then they are kind of paralyzed because is it British to be traditional in this context? You know, to say we have a tradition, and the tradition says that we will uphold the Constitution, even the Second Amendment. When we can watch in the schools that it is going astray of the intention of the Second Amendment.
Yes.
How can you have so much argue about evolving a system that needs to evolve, and that, okay, fine, okay, get stuck in your Constitution, America, yeah? But now, do we want the next generation to get stuck in the European Constitution? Well, there is no European Constitution. Oh, well, then we promise each other to be what? To be what?
Nothing even tentative suggested.
Yeah.
So you are referring to that's right. The members of the European community has no constitution. There's no constitution for the collection of the member countries.
Not that I am really aware of. I mean, if I can Google it, and maybe there's indications that there have been groups. I worked in Luxembourg at the European Commission, at the International Cour de la Justice. I actually I worked there, and yeah, not that I know.
No. Oh, okay.
But don't misunderstand, I didn't work there as a delegate from the Netherlands. I worked there as a part-timer in the mailroom and distributing mail in the buildings.
That still must have been very interesting.
Gives you a nice opportunity to do some sort of an observation. Oh, yes.
Oh, right.
And you can learn a different set of things concerning that community. Yeah, you can. But Yeah, that's another story. I have a lot of stories in this context, and my curriculum does not cover 1/10 of the things that I have done in my life.
Well, yes. That's why I will never write my biography, because I just couldn't pull it together.
No. No.
Yes.
Nevertheless, well, it's a matter of voting, and it's a matter of choosing. And if you're the poor guy, then we can select the poor guy. And if you are the rich guy, we can select the rich guy. But if we cannot select,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, what kind of a democracy would it become if we cannot choose someone to become either the spokesman of a circle or a representative of a circle of members of a council or a forum or a government, or whatever word you want to add to this list of options. Some things are clear, but some things need to be made clear. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, okay. So you can make things clear and I can make things clear, but we don't have to collide all the time if we set a clear target, a comprehensible target, something that can be understood by children.
And therefore attractive, yes, because it's
Yeah,
accessible.
yes.
Mm.
Reason can be very, very complex.
I am puzzled, going back to this issue that a group has to reach a level where it is large enough to 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 start a different way of functioning. And I want to ask you about the Vare idea, because there I learned that there are strict, specific changes from 2 to 3 to 4. But what I wondering now is, how would that kind of group achieve a mass membership rather than, they
Yeah, scattered
first.
individuals.
Because if you have just 3 people, in order for the group to function, all 3 would need to be on the same platform, but that would introduce
That depends. It depends.
tense.
Well, no. It depends. Because it depends on your perception of reality. My reality is that I am in this house. I am not
Yes.
in London.
Yes.
Now, if we want to use the traditional way of organizing, we have to find districts, locations. We have to find locations. Can I go?
Physical locations.
Yes.
Mm.
Is the Quaker's house your building?
Uh-huh.
If it is your building, it is your building, not mine, yours. Can you meet the people that you need there?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Can I meet the people that I need here?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's not very rocket science to say we have internet, we can use it as a tool. But we need to find the place where to go to, both physically before going into fantasies about what other people should do when I ignore what I can do. That is not rocket science either. So I can ring the doorbell of my neighbor and say, listen, my other neighbor feels lonely. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? That is being where you are. And I love this statement of an American man who said, you have to be, no, what did he say? You have to stay right where you are.
Well, gosh. Well, what a challenge to me, because I literally don't know either of my neighbors, left or right here.
Okay, that is forgiven, because we live in a very, very kind of disturbed world. But we need to, we can find a way out. We can, if we really want to. Yeah. But if I am one, then you are two. And together we are?
Well.
Three.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's the message that says you can have 1, 2, 3. But we are two.
Right.
And there is no democracy in two. There is only dispute in two. Your opinion against mine, mine opinion against yours. And you can go out and meet hundreds of men which are so fed up and tired of this that they said, it's not my business. Go on, Michael Murphy, to get your dumb your dumb proposition, because I don't want to agree with you. That's who I am. Oh, well, I want to agree with you. What a big paradigm switch. So,
well,
that's the idea. If and it's not an idea, it's happening. It's happening all over the place. But I went to the commune and I said, this area has a problem. They can only talk about each other in the context of they are wrong. Now, please tell me, who is doing something right in your environment? Show me the man who is doing something right. Then I can learn from that man and I can imitate the behavior of that man to become either righteous or to give him the assistance that he needs. I don't want to know what you want. I would like to know what you need. That's a different level of perception. You don't look at children in the context of, I can't speak yet, but I have to wait until he can, because then he can tell me what he wants. I am the mature one and he is the child. And I am the one to determine what he needs. Am I too fierce?
Well, I am the one who has to guess what he needs.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, and this is also optional, consult your wife.
That's right. Who will understand baby language better than. Oh,
just, just an option, eh? Don't
mm,
worry about it. It's an option. Not
mm,
always the best, but you know. it's you know the the I would like to ask you something serious. You say Uday is threesome, but
mm.
Uday is not threesome because if you Google threesome, you get all kind of pornography
Ooh, oh,
on the websites.
uh,
Yeah, please. Uday
mm,
is not associated with pornography.
mm.
I told my daughter that you translated Uday to threesome, and she couldn't stop laughing. I said, "Hey, oh, come on, he is a serious man, you know." So we have to pay attention on which words we want to use in order to make it clear that we can set targets together. It's very translation can be very disturbing, can be very confusing.
Oh, yes.
There's a beautiful movie called Lost in Translation.
Oh, you seen it? I seen it long time ago.
Yeah. It's a pretty one. Another
Mm.
recommendation I would like to. There's the book that's Denzel Washington is an absolutely great man.
Oh,
Uh,
ah,
he has a movie called The Book of Eli.
oh,
I would
that
recommend it.
that
If
sounds
you,
interesting.
yeah, The Book of Eli. It's a very nice movie. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if you have a vision, you need to find the people that can either acknowledge your vision, because, and this is my point of view, in the failure of democracy. First of all, we are in duality mode. This is what I call duality mode, you and me.
Mm.
So if we go to Trinity mode, we have the third person. That's the only place where we can find maturity. It's,
Mm.
it's the smallest shape of democracy.
Ah, that's right. Yes, yes, because there can be
There is
there
no,
can be a vote.
yeah, but there is no majority in duality. You cannot
No,
have a majority in duality.
no, that's right.
So if we want to repair, this leaflet provided in the EGABAT download, yeah, it talks about the talking stick, and it says something like, Ware is an effort to restore democracy.
Mm.
And what
Mm.
happens? Well, we get a lot of people that want to throw Molotov cocktails at the government. Well, I don't,
Mm.
because I'm not a governor. I'm not in the government. Neither are you. So why should we worry about the government? Find an MP to come to this Skype meeting.
Ah, uh, yes, or go to his
Yes,
surgery.
of go to his place.
Yes.
In the
Well,
American, you would have to say, go and find your senator. Yeah, but
mm,
go together.
mm.
Oh, are you a Mormon? No, I am not a Mormon.
Well, no, you see, that structure is there, but to what good it is. The by convention or whatever, a representative has to be accessible to the constituency he represents. So in Britain, they call them surgeries. Every MP holds surgeries. I don't know how often. I vaguely thought about incorporating that into our small groups' interests, but one time, you see, MPs here in Britain are really inundated in their surgery by people who want to solve immediate, practical, personal, or ground to earth problems. Not about discussing how to change the social structure so that people will be free to spend time discussing civic issues, and if necessary, reward them for going to a civic meeting with the other constituents to discuss about issues that is beyond each one's personal issues.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if you say, I am available and I can receive visitors at Skype at Friday, 2 o'clock, it is up to me to say, I'm not going to invite anybody, or I'm going to invite somebody. Because,
yes.
Yeah, so we can say, well, I'm available, but I am not available, you know. And then you wait 1 week and you are available and nobody comes. Well, that's very, very unreliable from my part. So
yes.
I would say, in that context, if I accept reliability or expect reliability, then the only thing I would have to be is reliable myself.
Yes.
And more I cannot be.
Yes.
But on the other hand, if you say, okay, I am Wareka, there is another Wareka in the Netherlands, there is another Wareka in the Philippines, there is another Wareka in another area. Oh, okay. So you have a group in your area? No. Why not? Nobody wants to help me. Oh. Well, then maybe you should find somebody who you want to help. Yeah, because if I did something wrong, it is natural that nobody wants to help me. I think so. Well, you didn't do anything wrong, as far as I know. Maybe you you did something wrong, but well, maybe you did, yeah.
Well, the failure can be commission or omission, i.e. not doing something or doing something that is harmful. My wrongness is not approaching all and sundry with an invitation. I even feel hesitant distributing these pamphlets at Speaker's Corner. So I am doing wrong all the time by not not being
I understand. I understand.
socially well. But
But
then
the,
why I say find somebody for whom it's second nature to get into conversation with strangers.
yeah, but this is very
And
important issue, because if I say, listen, I can, I did furnish you with not this one, yeah, but the other one. There is an effort behind it. Now, if you are inquisitive and smart or intelligent, you would like to know what is the effort behind it. If you make a pamphlet or a manifest or a constitution, there are people behind it. Do you reject them or do you accept them? Why do you reject them if you can't make the effort to come forward with something that you made? Be it a pamphlet or a slogan or something else. How come you are so superficial to say, well, I can't use that. I can't use that. You know, I think I ought to be grateful for the fact that you have your station at the Quaker's house to distribute pamphlets or whatever. Maybe you made them yourself, but you make the effort. And that is what an individual can do. I can't do much more than that, and you can't do much more than that. But we can set a goal and say there are locations available to many, many, many different groups. Okay. So can we find one in London? Yes, we can find one in London. Do you know the one who's in charge of that location? Yes, I know. Is he called the mayor of London? No, it's called Janos. Oh, Janos is in charge of London? Yes. Actually, he's in charge of the United Kingdom. What do you want me to say?
Like anybody else.
Yeah, like Charles. Yeah, of course. I think that the repetition of the analog world may extend into the digital world. Thank you.
Well,
the problem, no, it's a problem. It's not a problem in the flogging. The flogging gives you the opportunity to demonstrate. In the blogging, it doesn't. And that is very important, because if I say, I want to invite you on my kitchen table and share with you a meal, that is bullshit on the internet. You can't do that. We have to realize that the internet is a tool of communication, but it is not a thing that...
Can you shut the door?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, hello, Hazel.
Oh, yeah. Just finishing her music party.
Oh, good. My wife is very musical. Oh, yes.
Oh, that's the first time. Well, men don't talk much about personal issues.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yes. So what kind of music she play? Does she play an instrument?
The piano. Yes.
Piano. Good. Well, yes. Yes.
But she is also directing choir. A choir. Something like 80 persons. That's a big choir. My daughter has COVID for the time being.
Just now?
Yes. So tomorrow she will be out of quarantine.
So it's still around, gosh.
Yeah, but it is I have my underlying conditioning, so I'm kind of not
You have to be careful as well.
a little bit, yeah. So
Oh dear, I don't know what the right attitude to this situation. I just balk at the idea that for the rest of um, for the rest of the life of the civilization I am talking about, people will be always afraid
yes,
of this
yeah.
hidden.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation about source and about and if we take a look at what is going on in China at the moment, it's kind of a ridiculous situation. But I was also distracted by what's going on in Iran, and that is a very different scene. It looks like some sort of a revival of the Arabic Spring. The Iranian are trying to impose on the population something that is common in Saudi Arabia, the Sharia police. And then they killed a woman because her hair was showing out of her jihad. And the population says, now you crossed the line. And they start to riot a little. And that's a very, very interesting. Well, it's very sad that this happens.
Yes, yes. Things are not improving.
Well, I think every country, and especially every religious or linguistic group, should have the autonomy and authorization to determine how to kind of give guidance. Give guidance to what? Give guidance to themselves. And I personally believe that there is no difference between the righteousness of a woman and the righteousness of a man.
No.
So that is my opinion. And I'm not going to change my opinion because you have another one.
No, not unless there is reliable evidence that the truth lies somewhere else. Because that's the issue about disagreement. What is is it genuine difference or is it misunderstanding? Unfortunately, there is never enough objective examination of the reason why we hold a particular viewpoint. Well, anyway, that would go into metaphysics, but that is to me the issue is when there is a disagreement, then there is a chance that there is a truth which would resolve the disagreement, and that can only be brought to the surface by discussing the underlying assumptions of our overt opinions.
I will think about what you say here because it is worth it. And
well, it is as far as I see it, it's a fundamental issue because it's to do with about what we as individuals assume human nature to be. It's best it is best shown by the extreme where people say democracy is a stupid idea because the majority of people are not capable of making intelligent decisions. So that is to do with whether human individuals can improve and grow and become more competent at understanding reality, or a certain section never be able to.
Well, and if you want me to react, I would certainly acknowledge that I believe that not everybody is meant to be a Krishnamurti or a Gandhi.
Oh no, that's right.
So
it's right.
If we say no, Krishnamurti was not wrong in bringing his message and influencing people in the 50s and the 60s to examine the belly button. They were not wrong. And fortunately, hundreds of thousands did so. Good. Good.
So in this issue, this is a basic issue. What are the underlying assumptions? And it's not an easy, because sometimes you don't want to reveal the underlying assumption, and that will not be conducive to.
Be careful, because you have the seed of suspicion in this context.
Well, in normal group work, it's called hidden agendas.
Correct.
And in my extensive experience of groups, because for decades I was going from one group to the other, there is never an area where we say, let's put our cards on the table, what we are expecting from being part of this group. Putting your cards on the table is like I think my opinion about democracy is most people are not intelligent enough to be trusted to make decisions that decides how a society is run. So once you know that is an interesting help, because you can then ask.
Yeah, but that calls for a hierarchy. It calls automatically for a hierarchy.
Well, hierarchy.
And last week you were talking about something like a fluid hierarchy.
Yes, that's right. I mean, it's a vague notion, but to me, it's an important. It's an important possibility.
Yeah.
In actual.
Let's elaborate that view a little bit, because a fluid hierarchy would mean that it can touch down in you, in me, and in anybody else, which means that I would have to learn to listen more in tune with myself as being a recipient of information, and not as a competitor in the struggle for, call it divine food.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that would be one form or one behavior.
Yeah.
So
Then we have
anyway,
to
fluid democracy.
discover where do we find the signal of the one who is speaking on behalf of the hierarchy. Is it Krishnamurti, or was it Gandhi, or will it be? We need that label again. Will it be the President of the United States? I fear not. Would it be Trump? I hope not.
By my this vague idea to me of fully democracy is indicated by an example of what happened according to certain anthropologists researching ancient ways of living, like tribal society and hunter-gathering, that that when a problem arises, the group recognizes the most competent one person to deal with the problem and gives them all the help and support. But when the problem is solved, the person divests himself
steps down.
of the. So somebody called Murray Bootkin said in he's an anthropologist, he said, there was a point in the development of this tribe when they forgot to recall the experts once his job was done. So he became a permanent post. And that would be a non-fluid democracy. In fact,
I acknowledge.
History says this is how things worked in Athens in the good times. When there was a crisis, they elected a dictator, and when the crisis was over, he stopped being a dictator. This is Athens, according to history, well researched and documented. So something like that is what I mean by fluid democracy. In a group, somebody who is a natural networker. I have one person who I was working with, an Iranian person who was a natural networker, and that's how we met about 30, 40 years ago. In a bookshop, he approached me, and now I would not do that. Go to not unless I see somebody looking at a book I am really passionate about. But anyway, Shaheen, his name is Shaheen, and from then on we had quite an extensive group program for years. But things change. But so.
Do you remember that I mentioned the concept of the Segi? The Segi is the one that you choose to be oriented on.
Yeah. A person with a particular ability.
It can be a person that your intuition or your gut feeling says he is not only interesting, but I can learn from him.
Segi, that's right. So I would think something like a mentor. Something like a mentor. You recognize that you can learn.
Yeah, well, in the context of what you identify as a necessity. If there is a problem, we can elect somebody who can be the problem solver.
Yes.
But once the problem is gone, the elected expires.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And yeah, I in the context of civilization, I don't think that we will find that level of civilization where we say, okay, if we make it's not a metaphor, it's a comparison, but that's the way we think. We compare America with China. Wow, good. Why not with Europe, but nevertheless. We say there's a development in the United States when the 45th president of the United States is trying to become kind of a safeguard to the development in the United States. He believes that his influence should stretch up to the level of carrying responsibility for lots of decisions made by the Senate and the people. So he is taking up a role which could correspond with an evolved society. The only thing is, he is trying to become a manipulator of the process.
Yes.
And that is not acceptable to the process. So, if you are the one to say things are not going well in Europe, I can listen to you. And I can tell other people, Janos doesn't agree with the things that are going around in Europe. Now, if you want to be obedient, you listen to Janos.
And you decide whether he makes sense or not. But if he does make sense, then go along.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
The only thing required is that they have to be able to meet you. But they have to come to you. And not to me. Because I am not in London and I am not in the position to envy such a position.
Well, okay. Well, let's
call it a day.
Let's call it a day. Thank you for contacting the other two. Who knows? Maybe.
Well, I'm fine with this because if Waré is gone, it's gone. I mean, there is a window of opportunities and options.
Something new to emerge.
Yeah, but if we miss it, then it is gone. It is gone. Really, it is gone. And as I mentioned to somebody just recently, I can only do that what I can do, and I cannot do your mistakes. You have to make your own mistakes.
Yes.
Thank you for meeting me and being.
Thank you for calling the meeting. Two is better than one, so we should be appreciating each other.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I do appreciate these moments.
Right, I do.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all the best till next week. Regards, love to your family. your
Thank you.
children, and I hope the daughter clears COVID completely.
I do. Thank you very much.
Okay.